Hi, everybody. We are looking at Chapter 9, Lesson 3 today. So if you can pull out your math books, turn to Chapter 9, Lesson 3. I will get us all set up here. So as we look at the title here, very much like yesterday's lesson, except instead of adding, we're subtracting. And we're still looking at fractions that are alike. In other words, they have a common denominator. So don't need to really do too much with our denominators again today. So that makes today's lesson super easy, right? So let me get to where I want you to go on Chapter 9, Lesson 3. If you need to pause the video to do that, go ahead and do that. How do you subtract like fractions? Well, let's think about yesterday. Yesterday, we added only the numerators and we left the denominators alone. What are you thinking for today? If you said, oh, we're going to subtract the numerators and leave the denominators alone, you're exactly right. So we are looking at like fractions. They have the same denominator. And you add the numerators when you're adding them, you subtract them when you're subtracting them, you just subtract the numerators. You leave the denominator alone. You keep the same denominator. So that's the main thing to remember for today. So we're looking at Rita. Rita has 7/8 of a pizza. I'm guessing maybe her dog came along and ate one piece already. She eats 3/8 of the pizza. How much of the pizza does Rita have left? So denominator stays the same. Excuse me. We have a denominator of 8. We have a numerator of 7 and 3. So we subtract those. 7 minus 3. Counting on your fingers, or if you already know, 7 minus 3 is 4. You are absolutely right. But 4/8 is not in simplest form. So when we're looking at, let me change that up a little bit. So as we're looking at 4/8, the greatest common factor, not 2. We had a lot of problems yesterday where the answer was 2. You divided by 2, you divided by 2. Well, that was because those happen to have a common factor, a greatest common factor of 2. What do you think the greatest common factor of 4 and 8 is? Your clue here is the fact that it reduces or simplifies into 1/2. So to get from 4 to 1, you are divided by 4. Very good for those of you that knew that. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So Rita has half of her pizza left. Subtract, solve any way you choose. Well, there's a couple of different ways we can do this. We do know already the denominator is going to be what? 15, yes, because we keep the denominator to the same. I'm going to say we're going to go left to right because order of operations says we do subtraction left to right. So we're going to do 14 minus 1, which is 13. And what's 13 minus 4? 9. Very good. So 9/15, not in simplest form, however. Notice that they did it in steps. They got to 9/15, not in simplest form. It has a greatest common factor. Nope, not 2. Nope, not 4. It is 3. We do 9 divided by 3 is 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. So we have a simplified fraction of 3/5. As we look at math in my world, about 7/10 of the Earth's surface is covered by oceans. The Pacific Ocean is the largest ocean and covers about 3/10 of Earth's surface. How much of Earth's surface is covered by oceans other than the Pacific Ocean? So we know that 7/10 of the Earth is covered by all of the oceans. 3/10 of that is the Pacific Ocean. You subtract those. They show you in a nice little model here that if you had 7/10 and you took 3 away, you would be left with 4/10. And then they simplify that answer for you here to 2/5. Or just simply subtract the numerator, 7 minus 3, which is 4. Keep your denominator the same. 4/10 is not in simplest form. They both have a greatest common factor of 2. So when you divide by 2, you find out that 2/5 of Earth's surface is covered by oceans other than the Pacific Ocean. It's a lot. That's a lot, right? When you're thinking about that, 2/5 of the Earth's surface is covered by oceans other than the Pacific Ocean. It's a lot. Example 2. The table shows the amount of rainfall several cities received in a recent month. How much more rain did Centerville receive than Brushton? Write in simplest form. Subtract the numerators, keep the denominator the same as the instructions. So they show you 9 minus 3. 9 minus 3 is 6. 6/10. Write that in simplest form. What are you going to divide by? 6 and 10. What do they have in common? What are the factors that they have in common? If you are thinking 2, you are right. So you need to divide 6 divided by 2 and 10 divided by 2 to get the answer of 3/5. So 3/5 inch more of rain fell in Centerville than in Brushton. Makes me wonder where these cities are. 9/10 of an inch of rain seems like a pretty rainy day to me. Guided practice. Subtract, write each difference in simplest form. They didn't give you any clues like they did yesterday where they had the extra boxes to show you when you had to simplify. So you're going to have to think this one out. Remember, when the greatest common factor is 1, you're done. So as you look at number 1, 5/7 minus 3/7, your denominator stays 7. What's your numerator? If you said 2, you are correct. Number 2, 3/5 minus 2/5. We know the denominator is 5 because we don't do anything with that. What's your numerator? If you said 1, you are absolutely right. And 6/9 minus 3/9. We know the denominator stays 9, and 6 minus 3 is 3. However, 3/9 is not in simplest form. So as we look at these answers, 2 and 7, their greatest common factor was 1. 1 and 5, they only have a 1 in common. When we had 3 and 9, because 6/9 minus 3/9 is 3/9, but I'm going to use this 3/9 right here. 3 goes into 3 and 3 goes into 9. So the greatest common factor was 3, and you had to divide by that. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. That's how they got 1/3. Your assignment is the independent practice. Again, you could take a picture of your answers. You could type your answers out on a Google document and share that document with me. Make sure you're labeling this Chapter 9, Lesson 3. I think that's about it for today. Keep in mind that you have to have it in simplest form. You have a section in your flip book on how to do simplest form. So if you need to review that section, otherwise feel free to find a video on how to go to simplest form. If you need additional help, you can always email me or message me on Google Docs. Take care.